We are here at the Canon booth to talk about the game-changing Canon EOS R. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we have it right here. I'm actually can touch it, but I probably will touch it too much, so we're gonna let him touch it. We're gonna talk about what he's holding, what he has right here for you guys.
Yeah, so this is EOS R body, and this is also the 28-70. This is the lens that everybody wants to see today. It's an f2 standard full frame type lens with autofocus, and it's an all-in-one type solution. So, and a lot of times people want to go and shoot with a whole bunch of primes here at NAB. This is allowing you to go and shoot at f2 straight through 28-70, where you'd normally carry around 4 different primes to accomplish that. Instead, now you get one lens as a solution. The body itself, EOS R, is a stellar product. 30 megapixels of resolution. You're going to get high resolution, really wonderful image quality. Everybody that knows the 5D Mark IV series, this is actually the same sensor that's employed. We've actually done a couple of tweaks so it can actually function a little bit better in this mirrorless format. And what you're getting here is a 100% dual pixel CMOS autofocus system with eye detection autofocus for stills, and next month it'll be available for video with our new firmware update. It features some great features where you have a variangle screen, so if you're a videographer and you're shooting that 5D, it's got a touch screen, which is great, but you can't move your screen around. So if you're vlogging, you can very easily go and get the right composition that you'd want. And when you want to store it away, you simply just put that to the back, and at that point that screen's not going to go and get in. This is actually a really high screen as viewfinder, where this is 3.69 million dots. It's a very high resolution viewfinder, and we actually have both this model and the RP a feature called touch and drag autofocus, where when your eye's in the viewfinder, the screen will transfer over and you're able to go and actually still interact with your autofocus points with the touchscreen. So there's a really nice user interface here, and it's just a joy to shoot with.
Let's talk maybe frames per second. We got a lot of sports shooters out that needs frames per second. Tell me what the capabilities of this camera is.
So with this camera, if you're shooting in a one-shot situation, you'll get up to 8 frames per second. Once you go to servo focusing, you're actually getting 5 frames per second. So depending on what kind of sport or subject you're shooting, you're going to get a lot of frame per second capability, and you'll be able to keep up with the action at any point in time. One of the biggest strengths of this camera is its autofocus system. So what we're actually able to do is have 88% horizontal coverage and 100% top to bottom coverage of your overall interface of your screen. So if you want to move your autofocus point, have creative composition, you're getting that capability. You're also getting that high frame rate, so you can very easily track your action across the screen.
Definitely getting the reliable autofocus Canon has given you for years. If you've ever used a Canon, you know the autofocus is solid, super solid.
Getting into the shutter a little bit more, one of the biggest strengths of this camera is whenever you power off that camera, what you're able to do is actually have a closing shutter. And what we found on the market is, from all of our conversations with all the different users that are out there, various different products, they want to make sure that they don't get dust into their sensor. This is something that we've been working on. There's actually an additional curtain in there just to make sure that that'll be able to close. And once you lift that up, this shutter, continuously shooting, you can get up to 200,000 cycles on a shutter life. So this is a very long life shutter product. And as far as the chassis goes, it's magnesium alloy chassis, where it's going to be very durable, very robust in build. It's also weather sealed as well. So you're getting a very high quality product that'll be reliable for you.
And it's in a great color. Like I was saying the other video, I just like the finish on it. The color is just, I don't know, it's not all the way black, it's not all the way gray, but it looks bad. I love it. Bad in a good way is what I mean. Tell me about the screen on the top, and maybe some additional buttons or things you may get or notice from the other camera.
So on top of the screen right here, you'll see that you have a very large, high visibility screen. As you actually hold this down, it'll actually backlight. And you also get additional panels where you have additional information. Once you switch this over to a mode, you'll see all your mode information's on there. And if we select video, once we start recording a clip, as you go into your secondary mode, menu, you actually get more information for just on the video side. If you start recording a clip, you'd actually see the timing of your clip big and bright on the top of that screen as well. So a lot of people don't know that by having the screen up here, we lose a lot of the buttons, they think. And instead, all those buttons are available, the top screen buttons from a 5D or 7D. They're all available up on top of your screen right here. So you can actually cycle through your ISO, your white balance, your drive functions if you're in still mode. Everything's available still. It's all hidden in one button to clean up our top area of our camera. Additionally, every single button on this camera, for the most part, can be go and customized. So as far as your menu operation goes, you have custom buttons. One side of the screen you'll actually have the still side, the other side you have video side. So you can have two separate setups for when you're shooting. So if you want to go and move your autofocus point or pause autofocus, if you're in video mode, or jump into your speed light menu, you can do all those things and map out your custom configuration. We also have a multifunction touch bar in the back, if you haven't gotten to take a look. And what that allows you to do is 3 different parameters to be adjusted. So what I found is I like to go and move my autofocus points a lot and take a different selection. And you can actually customize this, whether you want to go and have one of the parameters that we out of the box give you, or if you want to customize this, you can actually do a customized setup. So if I go in here, I might want to swipe left and right my autofocus areas. I might want to go and set up something completely different, like possibly a custom ISO of 100 for my left tap, and then my right tap I might want to do something different, like a different ISO, and I might want to go and do something like maybe 12,800, something completely on the opposite side of the spectrum. And what I'm able to do here, I can charge up my touch bar. At that point, I'm able to swipe through my autofocus areas. I tap my left tap, I have ISO 100. I tap my right tap, I have 12,800.
Nice.
So I can do 3 different functions at any given time with this feature. And the great part for video, where if we go to our video menu, is that this is a silent adjustment. So in your video functions, you can adjust your headphone volume, your mic volume, or even aperture. And as you're swiping through, you're not hearing a button click or a dial click. So what we're trying to do is give more control and more functionality to our products, especially for the video users and the still shooters that are out there.
Perfect, man. They get a lot of great things with this camera that I'm even learning about, and I've read about it and still haven't learned what I just learned today. So yeah, man, it looks good. Let's talk about the battery that's used with it and battery life.
So as far as the battery goes, you'll see the tried and true LP6N. So if you have a going back all the way to the 5D Mark II back in like 2008, that battery, the LP6 original, that'll also work backwards compatible. As far as battery life goes, this is going to give you a little more battery life, where it'll be roughly around the 400 shot area, depending on how you use it. And it's hard to kind of give an overall battery life description considering how people use their cameras differently. Our ratings are very conservative. They're SEPA ratings, and traditionally what will happen is you have a rating that most of the time involves half ambient shooting, half flash shooting, and similar functionality of that. So what you can find is that our ratings will be very conservative, and you'll be pleasantly delighted when you get a lot more capability out of your battery life. If you find that you want more battery life out of your camera, we do offer a battery grip for this model. It'll come with 2 batteries. It is possible to go and USB-C charge those 2 batteries, and you also get a PC sync on the front of it. So there's a lot of capabilities on top of having dual batteries, extending your battery life that way, and vertical controls.
Okay. Perfect. Pricing and availability.
It's already shipping. So if you want to go out and go and buy one, you're welcome to find the camera at any of your authorized retailers, as well as Canon Direct Store. And as far as the pricing goes, the body only currently is going for right around that $2,300 price point. The 24-105 lens kit, the RF mount one, is actually going for right around the $3,100 price range because we have some rebates going on today for about $200 off of the product. You also get a free adapter with our latest promotions.
Perfect, perfect. In the future, if you're able to talk about it, if not, I understand. But is there any idea for a 70 to 200 specifically for the mirrorless lineup coming?
We already have it.
Okay.
So today at NAB, being this is the first time that EOS R is on display, and we're really excited to be here, we have our second half announcement products. So what you'll find is we have a 7200 that is now ultra compact, has a control ring built into the back of it. It's a different type of product, being that it's for an RF series, so you'll see that the size is the biggest wow factor of it. We also have a 15 to 35 instead of a 16 to 35, and a 24 to 70 as well. All three of those products are going to be 2.8 apertures, and they're also going to be nano USM as far as the autofocus system or the focusing system inside of it. Additionally, we have two 85mm f1.2s. So it's going to be a very bright aperture lens. Those 85mm lenses, one's going to be a standard lens, the other one's going to have a defocus smoothing effect, which is going to be gorgeous because it actually makes your bokeh a lot more uniform and smoothed out in the background. And the last lens that we actually have is a 10 times zoom lens, which will be a 24 to 240 millimeter lens. And that's also a very compact and lightweight offering. So it's a great time to be a Canon shooter. We're very excited about the R series and the RF lens series. And what you'll find is that if you take a look at the cabinet here at NAB, if you're in Las Vegas, you see some of our new offerings.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. Hold up, stop. Pause. I'm in the middle of editing this, and there's some things I just have to tell you guys. So I'm just going to talk on my camera phone to tell you guys. And here at Flash Film Academy, we appreciate our relationship with companies that create cameras like Canon. We appreciate that relationship. So I didn't want to go in there, even though I had a lot of questions. And if you follow my channel, you know I had a lot of questions for Canon. I didn't want to go in there on some Wendy Williams. I didn't want to go in there and throw some curveballs and do all of that. It's just a respect thing. I used to be a die-hard Canon guy. A die-hard Canon guy. I had the 5D Mark II, had the 5D Mark III, and that's where my Canon thing stopped. I used to own a T2i, a T3i, a 60D. I was a die-hard Canon guy. So of course I want to go in there and speak to a rep and just shake them and say, what are you guys thinking? However, I didn't do that. I did get a chance to talk off camera about a lot of stuff. And on camera, they had a PR or a legal person there, in which they should, because whenever you're talking to somebody with a camera, that person you're talking to is the media, and you want to make sure that you are putting out accurate information. That's respect. I get it. That's how the game go. Anybody who has interviewed someone understand that's how the game go. Now, there was a few things we talked about off camera that I'm going to go into detail. The words aren't exact because I didn't sit there and record them. I didn't take notes, but my biggest concern was, look, what are you guys doing? Sony is kicking butt right now. What are you guys doing? And to even say what you guys are doing so far is just not enough. However, one thing you gotta realize is when you go to the Canon booth, there was 40 cameras there. Probably not an exact number, but there was a lot of cameras there. They were still showing the 5D Mark IV, the 1DX. They were showing 2 mirrorless cameras. They were showing 5 different camcorders. You got the XA models, the XA10 models, the XA15. There was a lot of cameras there. That's one of Canon's biggest problems, in my opinion. I think they got too many cameras. Let me make one thing clear. One thing that they didn't say, but I took away from the conversation is that the mirrorless lineup are photography cameras first. And that's cool. but they're almost photography cameras only. They are 80% camera, 20% camcorder. That's what I took from it. Because their demeanor was, if you want a video camera, go buy a C200. Have you looked at the C200? Go buy a C200. And it wasn't, hey, our cameras do that. They stand behind their product, in which they should. Anybody that's invested billions stand behind their product, and they are firm with the belief that their product is a comparable product to what's on the market. That's up for debate. You can feel how you feel about it. I can feel how I feel about it, and they can feel how they feel about it. But that's what they believe. Can't knock them. You also have to think about this. Canon is a Japanese company? So the reps who are there are American. They're hired to be American representatives for that brand. They may not share that belief. They may not truly think that. But when that's who you work for, you gonna say it until you believe it, and you gonna believe it until you say it, or however you want to do that. They just don't have a choice. I remember reading about Sega, who was in a similar situation where they're like, yo, we can't compete in America with this. And the guys over in Sega land was like, don't worry about it, we'll be all right. And the guys in America like, no, we're not. And Sega went under. Not saying that that's going to happen to Canon or nothing like that. It's just a story that comes to mind when I felt like a company that was international had different issues. But I can't even say this is an international problem, because Sony is not a U.S. only company. It's not a company that's just killing it in the U.S. It's a company that's killing it in a lot of places. So I say that to say this. They believe they have a solid product. And I believe that they're taking the Apple approach, right? Where with the iPhone, Apple will let Samsung come out with all these fly-by-night features that aren't proven or even practical until Apple releases it. So Apple is usually late to market with a more solid product. I believe that's how they look at the market. But it's a little different because Sony isn't making a lot of fluff products. Remember, you get the Samsungs and they have touch to transfer files and fingerprint scanners and retina scanners, and nobody uses it because it doesn't really work. It's just something that they can say, hey, your iPhone can't scan your retina. Yeah, but I can hold a picture of your eye up and still unlock your phone. It's not even, like, it doesn't even really work. It's just a feature they're selling you and you paying for it. And then, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like that, or that's how they're looking at it. However, I've used a Sony, I've used a Canon. I own a Sony. I sold my Canon gear to buy a Sony. I'm pretty happy with that product. Now, I feel like there is just a little bit of cockiness, but we're Canon. We build a more superior product. So if we build it, they will come. And I just hope that they're not, I don't even want to say naive. I just hope that they're not drinking that Kool-Aid too much. Because a company that drank that Kool-Aid a lot was Kodak, who felt like we're film is going to be back. Don't nobody want a digital image. And boom, they're gone. I don't think that'll happen with Canon because they have their hands in so much other stuff. But I look at things like, I look at the lens game, right? You want the best glass, you're going to buy L glass, and that's that. And then you see companies like Tamron and Sigma start to bring the heat, start to make quality glass. And there are other options than L glass if you want great glass. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, the more I talk to the Canon guys, there were some features that they knocked on that, hey, the competition's not giving you this. The competition's not covering up the sensor when you take the lens off. It's little things like that those guys being new to the game aren't thinking about compared to somebody who's made cameras for 10, 20, 50 years. They're not thinking about it like we're thinking about it. We have an older look at it. And sometimes I think that older look can be more damaging. To me, Canon is the big oil tanker that's trying to turn the boat, trying to steer the boat. And I feel like Sony is almost, maybe not that speedboat. I think Blackmagic is like a speedboat. Like they can just change. Sony is like a tugboat. They're more nimble, can make more changes. And they're so far ahead right now that they're just sitting back seeing if anybody's even capable of retaliation or catching up, like DJI is right now with drones. DJI don't have to release another drone for 3 years because nobody's even close. That's why we haven't seen a Phantom, because nobody's even close. Who's close? Nobody. They killed GoPro. Nobody's even close. So I think that's where Sony is, and I think that Canon is. Okay, let me make something clear. Canon did say that they had some things up their sleeve. They said, stay tuned. We got some things up our sleeve. And, I expressed that I want the camera that's going to replace their 1DX. I want their flagship, money's not an option, everything's on the table, mirrorless camera. And they claimed they couldn't talk on it, but they were like, well, just wait. You wait now. You stay tuned. And I'm like, yeah, by the end of the A7S3 will drop. The A9 II will drop. Maybe an A9S. Who knows? Like this thing can't happen a year from now. It needs to happen like this summer. But this is just my opinions. With the Canon mirrorless cameras, you are getting a solid camera. I got nothing bad to say about it, other than the video side of things. And the frame rate, I'm not crazy about. 5 frames per second, it's not gonna cut it, especially when you've been using an A6500. That's giving you, 14, 15, 16? It's hard to go back to 5. There are just some things that they're not trying to overstep. When their DSLRs die off, which they claim they're not dying off no time soon, and camcorders die off due to cell phones, I think at that moment they will begin to produce a mirrorless camera that is just kick ass. Right now, if you want a digital camera, a photography camera, portraits, things like that, it is great. Outside of Canon color science and dual pixel autofocus, it's not the camera for me. I wouldn't mind owning one. I wouldn't mind vlogging with one because of the dual pixel autofocus, the flip up screen. I would buy one for that. You would get my money for that. But when I tried to talk to them about allowing video or RAW or a higher bit rate via HDMI, it was shut down. Like, no, we're not trying to do that. Go buy a C200. Nikon don't have C200s to worry about. Sony has FS5s to worry about, but it's a whole different department. And I'll tell you in a heartbeat, my A7R3 out of the camera outshoots my FS5. But my FS5s offer higher bit rate. Like it offers, I can do more with the picture in post. Image for image, straight out of the camera, very little color grading, maybe color correcting. My A7R3 shoots. That boy shoots. So, again, this is for those Sony guys that switch from Canon, that's wondering, like, Canon, are you gonna come out punching? I hate to say it, but they may not. Their objective is different than Sony and Nikon. They have multiple cameras to cover that. And that's okay. That's not bad to feel like that. But as a consumer, you need to know Canon, even though they started this video thing on DSLRs, they're not going in that direction. As of now, they're just not. If you want a small body that you can build on, add recorders to, or trick out to be this great video monster, unfortunately, it's not going to have a Canon logo on it for the foreseeable future. Nikon's doing great things, and with the price of the Blackmagic Cinema Pocket camera, you can afford to buy a good Canon that's a great photography camera, and buy you a Blackmagic Pocket. Use that as your A cam, and maybe use your Canon as your B cam, and you got it set up. But it's not that cinema beast of a video camera anymore. Some would say that the higher mirrorless one, it's close. Nikon's just giving you so much more for your money, man. Sony's just giving you so much more for your money, video-wise. We just got to be honest. I love Canon. I want the best for them. But go buy a C200 if you want video. Go buy a 1DX. I wouldn't even say a 1DX. 1DX is great. Go buy a C200 if you want video from Canon. Period. If you can take that out, this review makes perfect sense, and it's great for those who want a digital camera that kicks ass with great autofocus, great low light, great skin tones and color. Go get you a Canon mirrorless and do what it's built to do and enjoy it. All right, guys. I just had to tell you that because you know how I feel about it. And now you know. Sorry that it's long, but I had to make sure I cover everything. And if you follow this channel and I put a mic in somebody's face, those are the questions I'm asking, man. I'm tired of guys just saying, what's the benefits and features and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you got to go off camera and say, look, this is what people are feeling, man. This thing is whatever, we need to know. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button. And I'm talking till my lips are dry, man. That's how passionate I am about this. If you're a Canon guy, let me hear what you got to say in those comments. Sony guys, I know y'all gonna represent, but I'll see you guys next video.